Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. It's time for us to focus on sports now, and Nnamdi Obayan joins me now. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good to be here.
Well, looking at some of the images today in the front pages of the dailies just makes you want to see, or for those who might have missed out, what exactly happened. But, it was a fantastic one. But because the build-up to that was that, where you're having these protests, it was going to mar the whole event. But what? What a ceremony.
There were still protests, bad ones in fact. Some hotels had to be boarded up. Hotels with glass fronts had to be boarded up to prevent them from throwing things inside. But the opening ceremony was colorful, it was bright, it was boring. They had sound problems. The general view is that this is probably the worst World Cup song ever. It was very short. It was Brazil. We expected all the capoeira and carnival atmosphere, and no.
Especially from what people know about Brazil.
Yes,
and all the sports fans who are itching to get to Brazil, they've got this perspective.
It was a very flat opening ceremony.
In other words, the African edition wasn't that bad.
South Africa looked... South Africa's opening ceremony made this look like a high school play.
Because that was awesome. It was great.
It was fantastic, and this was flat.
Wow. But then, not long after that, the
real fireworks came
out. But, Nigeria had, maybe we should talk about Nigeria a little bit before that opening match. Reading the back pages in the dailies preceding today, where Ahmed Musa was quoted to have said, look, you will see the real Eagles in Brazil. Stephen Keshi saying there's no shaking, and all those kind of words. Doesn't it kind of raise our hopes?
They're just saying the right things. I mean, we've had... Emenike and Mikel fight. We've had what Ahmed Musa is not fit to play. There's a lot of news coming out.
How about the Chejile now?
That's not so good. The Chejile is not playing. Nzoyi has landed in Brazil. He's taking the number 3 jersey and he's going to play. There's a lot of news, but perhaps they're trying to keep their spirits up. They're doing the right thing. They're saying the right things. If they can translate that onto the pitch, all good for them. But we'll wait and see if the real Super Eagles, as they claim, would show up. Personally, if the real Super Eagles consist of any of those people that played in all those friendlies, then...
Wow. But this just kind of makes one, cautiously optimistic about the Super Eagles?
Well, my approach has always been blind loyalty towards Nigeria, but if I'm going to be analytical, I'll be pensive and very worried.
But wasn't this the kind of approach, the kind of mindset that we had for the Nations Cup? Or is it that, look, these are two different things, completely different?
In all fairness, I was even more tense before the Nations Cup because you don't feel as bad getting embarrassed by world-class teams, but in Africa it has been really bad. So I was even more tense before the Nations Cup, and we won that, but that we'll win this World Cup again now.
What's the realistic expectation now? The group stage, or just win 2 matches and give them a pat on the back?
Realistically, we can qualify from the group. But if we qualify, we would most likely qualify second behind Argentina. That's if we're to be realistic, and we'll be immediately thrown up against France. So, yeah.
And that's a new look France.
That's a free-scoring, very fast, very young France. I haven't seen France this agile since France '98, where we didn't know half the squad, and they came and took the world by storm with a lot of young, fit, and talented players. That's what France look like now. So if you don't want to be too optimistic and think you can get past that. No.
But our sports guys did something yesterday, and it just were very nostalgic. They played the USA '94 squad, the way they played, the passion, the zeal, the tempo, and Nigerians just kept on asking me, when can we get that kind of play again for the Eagles?
Then we knew how we played. Nigeria would, the extra touch, take you to the wing, spread you. There was a pattern. For us to get back there, we need to have some sort of pattern. I'm still worried,
Don't we have anyone now?
Keshi played 4 friendlies. The first 2, he played a 4-3-3. The next 2, he played a 4-2-3-1. And all 4 times, he put people in the wrong positions. I mean, you can't play 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 and the central midfielders include people like Victor Moses or Nzoyi, who are naturally inclined to go to the touchline and leave gaps. So it's all those small tactical mistakes that worry me. When we meet the likes of Di Maria, who are born to exploit these things. But, I would not advise people to be too pessimistic either. Because the truth is, anything can happen. It's football. We do have a world-class player. We have a very, very good world-class player, and that's our goalkeeper. And he could be the difference between losing 2-1 and winning 1-0.
And he's had a fantastic season.
He's had a fantastic season. He's been fantastic throughout the friendlies, and he's bringing that form into the World Cup. In fact, looking at all his pictures since he got to Brazil, even when they came off the plane, everybody jet lagged. He still looked excited, like he wants to be there. So if he can bring that onto the pitch, and of course we know that since Yobo is a non-playing captain, he'll be wearing the captain's... Non-playing captain.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
At least that's what we expect, and also what we hope.
So do we then have an idea, the Keshi should have had an idea now of the formation and the players he wants to play, since he will just chopping and changing?
It's a 4-2-3-1. It's only the defense we're not sure of because of Echijile's injury. We don't know if he'll bring Ambrose to the left and bring Odulami, or if he'll start Oshinowo on the left. But if he does start Oshinowo, which is standard like-for-like replacement, it will be Eyama, Oshinowo, Omero, Obuabona, Ambrose. You have Mikel Anonazi sitting deep. You have Moses Osaze and possibly Ramon Aziz in front of them, because, like I heard, Musa is not fit, and you have Emenike up front. Another thing he could do is play Amiobe up front and put Emenike where Musa was. But we'll wait to see, but it will most likely be a 4-2-3-1. But
what do you say to those who think that Uzoni should have a place, maybe Ramon Aziz on the bench or something like that?
Even Osaze, I wouldn't start if I had my way. I think that Uzoni, Osaze, these are impact players. We don't have impact players on the bench. So you might as well start with very cautious teams and bring on impact from the bench. There's no point starting all your cards and showing your whole hand as soon as the match starts when there's nothing to come off the bench. So I would rather start with Uzoni on the bench, though I think the temptation to start him could be there, because you pop Moses on the left and the right is naturally open for him to come in.
All right, let's get down to the one that transpired yesterday. Well, Czech Republic and Brazil. So I beg your pardon, Croatia. Croatia, they came to the party.
Flattering scoreline. Brazil was flattered by that scoreline.
Why did you say that?
Very flattered. I don't think Croatia deserved to be on the end of a 3-1 bashing. And if you look at all Brazil's goals, Pleticosa made some good saves for Croatia, but he could take the blame for Neymar's goal, Oscar's goal, and his hands were a bit too soft.
That's the first goal.
Neymar's first goal, Oscar's goal, even the penalty, he actually got his hand to it. And for a goalkeeper at that level, your wrist should be stronger than that. I mean, even one with that experience, you don't get your full hand on the ball, and the ball still goes into the net. It wasn't the greatest penalty from Neymar, but it was maybe a bit of stage fright from Pleticosa. Croatia, they made lots of mistakes. Olic kept on exploiting the space Dani Alves left. Problem was he wasn't crossing properly. You can't have a big, strong striker like Jelavic in the middle and you're playing the ball on the ground. Put that ball in the air, let him trouble David Luiz, let him trouble Thiago Silva, let him get a bit of a fright. Kept putting it on the ground. Yes, the first time they got the own goal, and they kept trying it. They didn't do anything different. In all fairness, Modric and Rakitic had more impact in the middle than Paulinho and Gustavo did at the other end. I think Brazil will have Oscar to thank a lot in that match. He was...
it's a different Oscar from the one we see in Chelsea.
I think what happened was maybe the amount of responsibility placed on him, and the fact that Scolari just lets his two holding midfielders sit, then the three in front of them are allowed to roam at will. So Oscar is not meant to play in any strict formation or pattern. Your job is to get the ball from the midfield as far up the pitch as possible, draw defenders and feed Fred.
Was he feeding Fred, or he was... Okay, well, yeah, but it also looked like though he was also working for Neymar.
Yeah, well, Neymar and Fred are the two go-to people to score. Fred is playing a kind of false nine position where he and Neymar swap. You never know who's going to run into the channel, whether it's Fred or Neymar. I think what Scolari did is, if they are applying pressure, Fred starts in the starting nine position, holds up the ball, brings other people in. But if it's a fast break they are running, Neymar switches into the middle, and Fred's movement will bring out the central defender, and that's why you kept seeing Neymar in pockets of space. Just some very good tactics from Scolari, but Oscar benefited from that formation greatly. The only downside for Brazil was that Hawk was a no-show. It was a non-event yesterday. He practically did nothing, and I think he spent too long on the pitch. But what I saw in that Croatian side, if they can get their heads up, they have the personnel.
What about Eduardo? I mean, if Eduardo had been in for Rakitic, for instance, would we have seen any difference? Would he have helped out Olic?
Well, I think Rakitic was probably Croatia's best player, so he's not somebody you want to think of. I think his job makes life so easy for Modric. He does all the hard work, and Modric is able to take his time, sit back, and spread passes. Their own formation is 4-2-1-2-1, so they are quite narrow. So when they spread you, what happens is that when they want to spread you, they leave Olic in isolation on the left flank. So that forces your team to get lopsided. If Eduardo had come in, it probably have been for maybe Jelavic, because then they can drop the ball through channels. Maybe Modric could drop the ball through channels, and he could make Thiago Silva and David Luiz run, something they don't really like to do.
But Luiz wasn't bad on the night.
He wasn't bad, but Croatia played to his strengths. When you keep coming in trying to throw the ball, Luiz is going to stop everything like that. He's a world-class defender. You're not going to get. You're playing to his strength. You're playing to Thiago Silva's strength. So it was easy for Brazil. One or two times when they dropped the ball down, Brazil were shaky and nervy in the box. And Croatia said they had a wrongly disallowed goal. Julio Cesar came out, he flapped. He wasn't strong enough, and a foul was called.
No, but the whistle had gone before the goal.
The whistle had gone, but the whistle was not meant to have gone.
Because but it looked as though it was clear that they missed Mandzukic.
Even if Mandzukic was there, those balls Olic was throwing in would never have been useful to Mandzukic.
No, but Mandzukic, he's got the presence, he's got the header, he's got his...
But they were, like I said, same problem Jelavic had. They were not putting the kind of balls in that will make him effective. You can't have a big, tall man there, and you're putting the ball on the ground. That's what you put for late runners, for people who would make late runs into the box and put their feet on it and shoot. But when you have somebody who is pressing the defense back, you need to drop the ball in the middle and make him put the cat among the pigeons and cause some trouble there. And after a while, there will be a slip-up. Something will happen, Look at what Fred did. The penalty Brazil got, it was just him being a nuisance there. A tug on his shirt, and he went down like he was shot. And of course, the referee was, a bit eager to award the penalty. I wouldn't say it wasn't a penalty. I'll just say it was a soft one.
But they took the game to Brazil. I mean,
they did.
The first goal rattled them. The first own goal in how many years?
The first Brazil, that's Brazil's first own goal at the World Cup. First own goal in an opening match. Marcelo is the proud holder of about 3 records from last night. But it's going to be a difficult World Cup.
For Brazil, for everybody?
It's a unique World Cup. Every past winner is at the World Cup.
Wow.
Every single team that has won the World Cup is at this edition. So it's a very unique World Cup. It'll take a brave man to bet who would win it.
All right. It will be interesting, but our hearts are just wondering, Nigeria, what will that do? All right. Thank you, Nabdi, for coming out this morning. We'll be back after this. Join us again.